They're ripping them horns. Woo! How's it going, everyone? How's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday, and welcome to Changing Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burton. Hoping everybody's having a fantastic Wednesday. We've got a great show planned ahead for you today. The topic of today's show, we're going to be asking a question that people talk about a lot, but we're going to go in depth about it and also give my perspective of what I have, how I view that particular subject. And the subject we're talking about, topic rather, is knowing the difference between income and wealth. Okay. Again, you talk to somebody with 20 years experience in the financial service industry, so I have a different vantage point, I think, from most people, and also I mix with a couple of my personal views, and I think after tonight's show, I think we'll both, not both, I think we'll all have a hopefully enlightened view on the topic.
All right, all
You know,
right. So
and
how
I,
you been?
I've been fantastic, man. Been fantastic, coming with that rehashing this past week as always. I'm sorry. How about you? How you been doing,
I'm
brother?
good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
My man, that DJ Lab, always on point. Super outstanding producer of the Changing Lives and also Misfits Media Group. Um, just rehashed my past week. We're in the middle of tax season. I am the owner of Majestic Business Services. We're a full scale business service firm. Uh, we're in the middle of tax season. Tax season has been pretty good for me this year, and I'm excited about that. Also, we've been doing a lot of promos through the show. Also active on Facebook, Instagram. So we have a lot of great reception from the show. So again, when we bring it up, different times during the show in regards to visiting our company, Majestic Business Services. So please come see us this tax season if you have any kind of tax or business related questions. Going into next year in regards to the company, my week, I want to give a big shout out to my baby boy, William Burden. His team went to the Clayton County Youth AU championship game. They lost. I think the final score was 24-22. They went in double overtime. Very good game, and I'm super proud of the kids and everything. They worked real hard, especially for a team that was thrown together rather.
Thrown together.
Yeah, I was really, hey man, it's the kitchen here about flued out. That flued out shit mess you up. But I'm super proud of the kids, especially again be a team that was thrown together. So shouts out to the Clayton County Park and Rec AU Celtics being the championship runner up. Next, I want to give a shout out to my son Torian. He's on a TAF Sports Performance. They just sold out today. He has a free boot camp March 16th next week. He's had open slots. I think he had 30 slots open. He just filled all the slots up as of today. He's located at the Fast Pitch Training Complex right in Stockbridge, Georgia. But I'll be giving out, on different shows, more information about Torrance Company. But they're having their free boot camp next Friday. But make sure you look up TAF Sports on Instagram and TAF Sports on Facebook.
Okay.
Like I said, he's a full-scale personal trainer, does sports performance and everything. So make sure you look him up. I also want to give a big shout-out to my second son, PJ. He's on the Chut Styles, I want to say, wig developers. He's a barber, he's a stylist, and he's also a wig maker, but he's been really engulfed with designing and creating these wigs lately. He's 16 years old, super successful. And I wish I had his hustle when I was his age, because he walk around got a whole lot more change in his pocket than I know him have at that age. So I'm super proud of all the guys, of the kids and everything, and also so they don't feel left out. Give a shout out to my last two sons, Christopher and William. They super kids also, but I just want to talk with my two older boys and some of their entrepreneur endeavors they've been going into. I'm super proud of them. I want to keep pushing ahead. Bring back what we talked about initially. I am the owner of Majestic Business Services. We'll bring this up again several more times during the show. Make sure if you got any tax preparation needs, business development, you need anything for starting your own business or creating it, anything like that, make sure you visit us on the web at www.majesticbiz.com. Again, that's www.majesticbiz.com, or give us a call at 678-479-4007. Again, that's 678-479-4007. All right, bringing it up to today's show, we're talking about the difference between wealth and income, and what I wanted to kind of endeavor in terms of explaining, my definition of both wealth and income, but also give different tidbits on in terms of the path you want to be, concentrate on income, the path you need to concentrate on, wealth accumulation. Give the differences in the attitude style of a particular person, depending on what particular journey you're trying to go on, and just differentiation strategies in terms of applying it or deciding if it doesn't work for you or not. Okay. Start off, I want to kind of just go into a couple of personal stories in terms of how a couple things that shaped my view. I was raised by my grandparents, and I remember, back when I was I said probably about 14, 15 years old, my grandfather always had me around when he was doing business.
Okay.
Okay. And I just remember one time, insurance guy. This is back when insurance people come to your house and with his little packet. Then my granddad have his packet and give it to him.
You talking about old time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Age now, hey, I remember. That.
Funny man. The man coming out of Bankhead, walking house to house. He had that damn range walk. He was speeding by. Yeah, we want to see a scared white man. See the insurance man walk through Bankhead with cash money. Ow, boy. But I just remember sitting in the living room with him, and that's the first time, hear my grandpa talk about insurance. And that's when the man was saying, okay, well, we have a $7,000 policy, and my grandfather's paying on. He said, that's fine. He said, $7,000, that should be enough to bury me and put me in the ground and everything. And I'm just sitting there listening. Like I said, I was 14 years old, not understanding what insurance was. It just, when he said it, that was to put him in the ground and everything. He was content with it. Fast forward till when he died, probably about 15 years later, he called counsel and he passed. I was in one of my last 2 years of the Army. So, I've always been like the executive of the estate from both my grandparents. So, I'm 19, had to take care of the funeral.
Right.
Luckily for us, we buried him in his hometown of Concord, Georgia. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of family. This is for my uncle opened his funeral home. So we went to a local one that knew my family. And I remember the guy was going through everything. We done went to pick the casket out and did this, that, and that. Then he take us in the room. Now let's do the business. He popped his fingers like, oh, shit. And I knew it was more than $7,000, but the guy said, okay, just give me the policy for $7,000. So I gave that to him and everything. Keep in mind, Lal, I'm 19, 20 years old. Okay, so I was pretty smart, but I wasn't that damn smart. And when we were going through the whole process, I gave that to him. And what stuck with me afterwards was, after that was done, my grandfather had never talked to my grandmother about, the property taxes, staying on top of everything, what was needed, what wasn't needed, maintain the house. He just, he's a man's man. He did every damn thing. So a year and a half, almost 2 years later, when I got out of the Army, I came home, stayed with my grandma for a little bit till I got on feet. Me and my wife got our spot and everything. We moved in together, and that, I couldn't believe how far behind, like the property taxes 2 or 3 years behind. So taxes weren't done. That whole maintenance on the house and everything. And to go back what I'm talking about in terms of wealth, everything was gone. There was no kind of knowledge transfer. There was no kind of money transfer or anything once my grandfather passed.
So everything went when he went, it went.
Yeah, exactly. Went. The whole brain trust, the whole pocket trust, everything was just gone. And that stuck with me in terms of, you learn from it and everything. I wasn't tripping on him and everything because I'm a firm believer a lot of times. It wasn't that he didn't try to do now. He's just being negligent. He just didn't damn know.
Right.
Because I just remember that conversation stick with me when he was talking to the insurance guy. Shit, $7,000, that's enough. He was just cool. He didn't look at it in terms of way I view wealth or something that's transferred, and everything. Or insurance, life insurance is to replace you, not to bury you. Right. That's to replace you in terms of all your future earnings, anything you can have, make sure it covers certain costs, the future things that the family may need. That's what I view life insurance for.
Okay.
But he was from a different school. I'm not knocking it. He just didn't know. And that really stuck with me. The other thing, the next story I want to talk about in terms of when we talk about income, recently we had the government shutdown.
Right.
And when we talk about income, we talk about the wages a person makes. Y'all, when it stopped, and what really stuck with me, you have a varied amount in terms of what people making that's working, government jobs. But, just hearing some of the TSA or even some of the other agencies, EPA, FDIC, a lot of them, some of the forest parks and everything like that. These people make, I won't say high income wage, but decent wages. You're talking about wage, 50 and up, some of them 6 figures. Mm-hmm. And how they went in total damn shock in terms of missing a check.
Right.
And, I remember they sent the TSA guys on the news, I got to drive Uber and everything. And what really stuck with me is just that how many people are just, you hear it all the time. One check away from being poverty, this, that, and that. And people sometimes get it twisted because they're making decent wages. That shit can't happen to me.
Right.
And they look at it in terms of, I'm not poor because I'm making $70, $80, $90, $100,000. They ain't understanding that the rug pulled off on you. Shit, you no different from them.
That's true.
And that's a lot of people out here, but nobody really want to admit that because, again, like I always say, when we got to look at that man in the mirror, it's painful.
It's real painful.
The
more you make, the more you spend. I generally think like if you make $100,000, you probably spending $150,000 with your payments and interest and all that stuff. Generally, when you make a lot more money, you tend to spend a lot more money. Like how people always say, man, if I could make $5 more an hour, then you get that $5 more an hour, and you're like, man, if I could just make $10 more, and the more you make, you get to 10 more, then you like, man, if I could just make $20 more an hour. So it's like the more you make, the more you spend, and it's like it'll never be enough because you don't balance the budget. You don't say, well, like you tell like a while back on one of your shows, you was like, well, you just gotta sit back and say, well, do I really need that cable, or do I really need all those channels? Just one of those things to cut back, because even though you're making a lot more money, you still want to make sure that you are able to maintain a decent living. And what they say, what were they saying on, I was listening to a show on NPR, and they said $400. Yeah, everybody $400, a $400 emergency away from being broke. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if a $400 emergency come up, you won't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
You don't have, nobody has $400 in order to handle that emergency.
Think about what's $400.
Right.
Some ties, hot water heater, the AC, the heat. Shit, that's, baseline, you're looking at $400.
Right.
And that shit can just be catastrophic.
Right.
And everything. You got a roof leak, and you walk in somebody's house, they got pots everywhere. I mean, what the hell going on? And I'm just saying, and it's not nothing uncommon.
Right.
Because again, we, like I said again, you got this $300,000 or $400,000 house, but you need this check to cover this and cover that and everything like that. But people just, to your point, when you start asking for the extra $5, you have no plan for the extra $5.
Right.
Not saying, okay, I need it because I want this car. Not saying, okay, so I can, allocate it here, allocate it there and everything. So with all that said, that's what I really want to go into depth about with this show in terms of looking at the difference of income and wealth, those things that how they're defined, what it takes, in dealing with both, and also just looking at yourself and say, what's the best path for you?
Okay.
Because, we're not here to tell you which is best. We just want you to look at yourself and see which is best for you.
So you just have to decide yourself about what's best. You will. So you're gonna lay the foundation. They have to decide which foundation they're gonna use.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Follow your own. Follow your own yellow brick road.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Help us out. Help us out.
So we're gonna start first with just basic definitions of both, and when we define wealth as wealth being an abundance of possessions or money. I mean, you're not hurting for anything. You got more than enough. You're not stressing about it. Of course, that don't mean just making it rain every day, but you're not worrying about where the next money gonna come from. You have more than enough, and you can see certain things that you got to take care of life being able to be taken care of. Okay? That's what we look at as wealth. In the most simplistic form. Income, we look at. I define it as money that's received on a regular basis through either employment or through investments. You're working for, you got something working for you, and that's the income that you have coming in.
Okay.
Typically, we're talking about from our job, Maybe say we got some rental houses, or we bought some stocks or annuities and stuff, and so we got a consistent amount of money coming in. That in comparison to the wealth, it's just sitting there.
Okay.
You might didn't earn it, you just inherited it. You hit the Powerball, and everything. So that's how I define both. Just to initially start off, and a couple just general questions. When we're just discussing our issue. You want to ask yourself, which one is best? I know it's cliche. A lot of times you hear people saying now, like, I want to be wealthy. I want to do this. Income, this is a job. But if you're wealthy, you have this, that, and that. A job is just that, but you can pass on generational wealth. And I hear some guys listen to a lot of different shows. My parents, they didn't do that, and especially in the black community, is like we chastise past generations. Well, they didn't leave me this, and they didn't leave that.
They didn't damn know.
They didn't damn know, and they ain't really had the wealth to do it either.
Right.
Sometimes things are different. Again, sometimes just being real of real. People didn't have opportunities that you have now, and everything. You know what I'm saying? Even when you Black Wall Street, Rosewood, even some of them places like Durham and stuff, shit was taken from them folks.
Yeah.
So even when you had people that was actually being in segregation, that were being super progressive, they had things that were taken from them. So everything wasn't necessarily a issue of being selfish, and now they just couldn't do it and everything. So. Then you ask yourself, is there a best? Me personally, I don't think there is a best.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. And as we discuss everything, the reason why I say it's not a best with it, because there are factors from the outside, especially things inside of you, that will determine what would be the best for you.
Okay.
The path that Deonte take and the path that the lab take is totally different.
Okay.
Not necessarily even from a career perspective, but just from attitude,
Okay.
behavior. And everything. Some people, and I don't mean to rub folks the wrong way. Everybody is capable of being a millionaire, and everybody capable of frying French fries.
That's
true. But it's a capacity level, not from an intelligence, but just certain behavior things that are constituted. Some people super patient. Some people just can't wait no damn time.
Right.
Some people will stick to a plan. Some people can't stay focused for shit.
Right.
All that stuff weighs in terms of what, depending on if you can be on a wealth path or an income path.
Okay.
So, and that's why I look at it more being more psychological than necessarily, what a person can and can't do. Because you can build a damn house from scratch if you can, if you wanted to, right?
Right.
But everybody ain't meant to do that.
What you said on a show, one or two shows prior, he was like, some people just happy to work and just get their paycheck.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be realistic. Whatever path that you take, what the outcome is going to be for it. So that's the thing about it. We have to just be realistic about that and everything. I don't think a lot of times people are realistic about that. That's why I say you're looking at what's most important to you. If it's something with you, short term, long term, family. Image,
right?
All those kind of things had to come into play when you start determining, okay, which path as far as income and wealth do I want to go down? And sometimes like I say, I listen to a lot of these shows where, hey, let's acquire some houses and buy buildings. You had to ask yourself honestly, that shit really important to me or not?
Right.
Do
you think some people probably sit back and say, do I really want to be wealthy? Do I want to put in what you always say, I want to put in 80 hours or something.
20 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you don't have to work 40 hours a week.
Some people have to sit down and say that to themselves, because owning the business is not all strawberries and cream like everybody make it seem. There's work that has to be put into that. And it's some birthdays that have to be missed and some outings that may have to be missed while you're trying to build your company in order to have wealth later on. It's a lot of stuff that has to be done on the front end in order to enjoy it on the back end.
Well, we're gonna go into depth with a lot of that, because that's one of the things I always share with my kids and kids I coach. Everybody want responsibility. Everybody want to be in charge, but nobody want to be accountable.
Okay.
So when shit go wrong, you want to point fingers. Everybody want to do this,
right?
And everything. So That's one of the biggest things I think differentiate people that's going to be on a certain path with different things. Everybody doesn't have that those inner traits in them, and you can develop them over time. Some stuff is just not natural, but again, there's some things that certain people gravitate. Some folks handle stress easy. Some folks just crumble and everything, and some folks can juggle 4 or 5 balls at a time, and some folks like, look, just tell me what to do and what I can do it and leave.
Right.
And it's nothing wrong. It's just different, and I think the quicker people can realize what type of person they are, they can move in a development strategy for themselves that'll benefit them a whole lot quicker than them trying to do things that really naturally ain't in them to do.
Okay.
And everything. To initially start everything off, if you want to just kind of make yourself decide if I want to be on the income path or wealth path, I always say do that painful thing that I know a lot of folks like to do, and that's that self-assessment. Okay. And some of the key questions you want to ask yourself. Number one, am I disciplined? Not you think, not you hope, not you pray. Am I disciplined? Do you know you're a disciplined person?
Right.
Do you get up at a certain time of the day? Do you watch what you eat? Do you pay your bills on time? This, that, and that. Now, of course, we have hang-ups here and there and stuff like that, but are you the type of person that you're structured without any kind of person telling you what to do? It's just natural for you to be disciplined, okay? Next thing you want to ask yourself is, what are your goals? Are your goals short-term, long-term? Do your goals just include you? Do your goals include other people, your family, the community? Like I said, those kind of things need to be kind of, thought about when you start thinking about that track and going down. And then the last thing is, ask yourself, honestly, what you're willing to sacrifice.
That's the big one right there, I think.
Exactly.
I think that's bigger than the really discipline and the goal, setting the goals yourself. What goals you have, because people sacrificing is hard. People don't want to give up nothing.
When you don't work your 8 hours that day, some folks, when they get to that, you get off at 5. When that clock hit 4:58, they already pressing the button on the elevator. No matter if they got shit they got to get done that day or not, and everything. And or certain things they have to give up, and just looking at it like, hey, if you got to do this, you got to commit to that. Right. No, and everything. That's one of the things about a lot of times people want to do a lot of stuff. When it start coming to that commitment and stuff like that, totally turned away from it.
Yeah.
Totally turned away from it.
That sacrifice is a big word. It's a big word.
It's huge. It's huge. That's why I say, we start
go into it.
No, we start talking about that, but when we start talking about that responsibility and accountability, that's a monster.
Yeah.
That's a monster and everything. But that's one of the things, part of those, that assessment, looking at the discipline, knowing your goals, and how much you're willing to sacrifice. Those are 3 things I think everybody need to do a deep dive and make that personal assessment themselves to kind of be realistic with kind of their temperament on certain subjects here, especially when we start talking about the income and wealth personas. Okay, first we're going to start looking at income. And, I hear it a lot of times growing up, people, and want to make money and stuff, and they're like, man, go on and make that money, and don't try to keep it. Hey, you can't take it to the grave with you. Right. Spend it how you live and everything. And then, just... even just in the African American community, we just got a culture of spending shit.
Right. Just blow it.
Yeah, you see folk all got all this shit on their neck and their cars and everything like that.
But they got children.
They got children. They got a Benz outside, and they got a Benz in their garage. They can't even get a damn oil change for, or not tires, a tire and everything. But it's just that whole image. And I don't knock anybody. I don't tell anybody what to do. I don't look down on anybody if they being lavish or frugal and everything. But, it puts people in a situation where I'm constantly, like you said, looking for another $5.
Right.
Looking for another $10. Just trying to make more money. Money, working. And you're consumed with generate more money, and so you can buy more things.
Right.
So then we start looking at income. What I want to kind of just start initially just talk about some of the pros and cons of each, When you start looking at income, some of the pros of income is having that comfort, knowing that when you go to work, if you go to work that day, if you work hard, or you just kind of feel like dragging, because, came in Monday morning, Sunday you was at the club all night, drag, you still going to what? Get paid,
right.
So you have that on you. You know that, you do a certain amount of time, you're going to bring a certain amount home. You can plan it out and everything. You don't have that stress over you. You're sitting there, with from a planning standpoint. Look, if I be here so many years, I probably get bumped up to this supervisor. Do here so many years to do that. It's a comfortable path. Of course, you have your hang-ups here and there on certain things, but for the most part, when you're on that income path, you're working, doing what you're supposed to, you get your wage, you're fine with it. Also, it's status quo. Right. Everybody that in terms of you work, you get paid, and even as time goes by, you get certain credentials, get education, certain things, your money increase. So that's just your basic income path. A lot of folks, it's comfortable.
Right.
Like I said again, and keep in mind, I want to rehash this a couple of times. We're not here to talk about what's best. We want just you to do that assessment, what's best for you.
Exactly.
Okay? Some of the drawbacks with, following that income path, you really don't have no control of your future. And what I mean by that is, yeah, you can go in there every day, but we're in a world of constant innovation and automation. So it's nothing uncommon for companies to restructure, downsize, move, and you just out of a job. Job.
And Georgia's a right to work state, so they don't have a reason to let you go.
Hey, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. And you've been you've been at this job for 15 years. You started after high school. You started off making $20,000 an hour, $20,000 a year. Now you're making $50 because you've been there, and you really just have a skill set concerning that job.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But now you're back into a job market. You don't really have no skills.
Right.
That you could actually market to other people and everything. And it happens a lot.
It does. Yeah. I'm gonna give you one good example. When I first started working where I work, and I'm not gonna say name. I was there like 2 or 3 days, and they let a guy go within the 2 or 3 days I've been there that had been there 15 years. They just came up to him and said it's not working out. After 15 years, it's not working out. But that just go and not me. But he was comfortable. Came to work every day. Did what he was supposed to do. Left at what time he was supposed to leave. Came back. He wasn't never expecting to be let go after 15 years. So then you have to say, now what? And
what can you say?
And to see, yeah. What can you say? What can you do? That's why I always stay on the mindset that, and people say I'm done, but I always say, today could be my last day. What I'm gonna do tomorrow? What I'm saying? I'm not that I'm gonna quit, but I don't know what these people thinking. You never know what they thinking. So I always prepare myself. Well, this could be the last day, so I need to figure out what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Payroll in any organization, I'm coming back from my finance background. Payroll is the highest expense. So when we start talking about trim and fat, it always starts with people.
It always starts with expense.
Exactly.
Income don't get cut. Expense always get cut.
Yeah, but payroll is the number one expense you cut first, unless you're dealing with people that have a certain skill set that's hard to acquire.
Right.
But if it's pretty much just like, hey, pretty much we can get somebody else in and pay them half the amount, and we can teach them in a short amount of time,
right,
they're gonna do it. And that's very scary. What's needed for people to carry to go into that the income pathway? You need to have number one, the ability to generate money. Be able to work. You're able to come in and everything like that. It's not really a lot, and everything. You may go in certain things where you have certain skill sets or degree and everything like that, but just have some ability that can go from just being able to show up or having a certain skill set. Being a doctor or a lawyer and everything like that, because the vast majority of the doctors and lawyers aren't in private practice. They work for hospitals and everything like that. That's a whole another kind of animal when you want to be in private practice, because now you got to be a businessman. So I think a lot of times people get that twisted to do that and everything. So if you come in with those certain kind of mechanic, certain plumbers, all plumbers don't work for themselves. The vast majority work for organizations. And if you have those things, that helps. The other thing is, going back to those outside opportunities. And I always tell people this in terms of when you go to school or you go to college, you have what you want to do, what your degree is in, and you have who's hiring.
Exactly.
And who's hiring dictates everything. So it doesn't matter if, you wanted to, go in here and be an investment broker. That's what I want to do. My undergrad in finance. That's what I want to be, an investment broker. It wasn't well, I did book up one interview, man. I had one interview and I was just so comfortable.
Right.
And I got 15 minutes into it and I forgot what the hell I was talking about. Shit. I'm about to damn shit too. I
Go
messed that one all
up.
up. But for the most part, it depends on those opportunities out there,
Right.
and everything, and you really can't control that. Some of the long term implications of going down the income path. With it being comfortable, you have things that you can do in terms of having you can plan out your future, because you can usually have a 401k, a pension, some kind of different kind of long-term retirement plan in place when you're going down the income path or working a job and doing that. And knowing you have that stability coming towards retirement.
Right.
And you have some people that go down that path and work and everything, do the same thing. And look, if I only got a couple more years, retire, and they cool. Get you a Winnebago and just drive all around the country. And everything.
Live life. Yeah.
So, and that's typically the income path,
Well, yeah, that's true. And I want to throw one thing about 401ks. And, a lot of companies are not doing that no more. Long gone are the days where you work for a company 30 years and you got a nice, 60% pension, waiting for you when you retire. It don't work that way anymore. Most of these companies not even matching your 401k no more. They used to match it dollar for dollar. They don't match it at all now. You just put your money in there, and it is what it is when it come out.
Well, just going back in just a history, I don't know if you know the history even with 401ks, and you start talking about, what's that, like early 92, 93s, when they started initiating 401ks. The thing what happened was companies were paying so much money in pension plans. So that was killing a lot of companies, because they had spent, those 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s hiring these people, put them on pension plans. But now they, after all this time of accruing this pension debt, people retiring, and they paying a good amount of their bottom line into retirement.
Right.
So the issue came out, look, we can't do this. So, that's when they started those retirement plans, the 401k. So they put the ball in your court.
Right.
For you to be funding your own retirement. The matching was, like you said, is dwindling out. Initially, people didn't want to transfer to it, okay, until they start phasing them out. So the matching was more so an incentive
to get you
to do it,
right,
and everything. So again, now since that's your only option, like you just said, we ain't got to do it no more,
right,
and everything, right. Because that's in essence what brought the pensions. A lot of times you see pensions now more on government base,
right,
police, teachers, railroad, things like that. But private companies, you're pretty much in control of it. So, if you hit 60 something, you haven't been funding that 401k. Hey, you better hope
places where unions too have pensions, like
exactly,
auto workers and
steel
workers and all that kind of stuff, and railroad they pension too, because they are union.
Exactly.
But if they have union, they'll generally have a pension. So
exactly. But I said the vast majority, these private companies now.
Yeah.
I say the match was more just an incentive.
All right.
It's like you said, now the only option, it's not going to be there to do that. So that's one of the things, quick history in terms of just with those being there. But those things we just talked about, kind of like the things your thought process in terms of just going down that income path.
Right.
Now we start going down the wealth path, things that kind of go across your mind a little different. You're thinking about it in depth of more of a holistic perspective instead of just more of what I want. Now, I'm not saying you don't care about other people, your family, when you're going down the income, but when you start thinking about a wealth thing, you have to be thinking of, you don't have to, but most of the time you're thinking about others,
right,
as opposed to yourself. Because sometimes you ask yourself, do I want to leave a legacy? Am I trying to set up things for my family? Am I looking at what I want to have for my grandkids, this, that, and that? Am I trying to make sure that, if I do certain things, will it put me in a certain place where I'm not putting in as much work now? I'm doing, making some hard decisions and moves now to kind of set me up for later. So that's the initial thought process when we start going down to go to the wealth path. Some of the pros of doing that is you got unlimited potential.
That's true.
If you set that up. You got unlimited potential. You can have money on top of money. You can be able to make certain moves, leverage out certain deals and everything. The sky's the limit when you become wealthy. And you don't have to be, Donald Trump rich, but you can just be very comfortable where you don't have to sit here and worry about certain things. You have somewhat of control of your destiny in terms of, you've put yourself in a certain position where you don't have to settle for certain things. You have options that you don't necessarily have in terms of when you're actually working with somebody or working for somebody and everything. If you feel like I don't like this job, you can be working for somebody. I mean, you wealthy. You don't like it, you can leave.
Right.
If you don't like where you stay, you can move and everything because you have those things in place where you can do that.
Right.
You have the comfort of knowing you can take care of your family from generation to generation and not worrying about, hey, if something happened to me, my kids are set, my grandkids set, and their kids are set and everything. And that can be not necessarily for money. You may have a family home or certain land that you can transition from person to person over different generations and stuff. So you put those kind of things in place, and that's kind of like the pros in terms of wealth accumulation. But with that said, you still got some cons, some drawbacks of trying to go through that. And one of the major things, Lab just was talking about earlier, those short and long-term sacrifices.
Yeah.
Those things that you're going to be doing without, in terms of maybe simply just buying clothes, maybe not going on trips, may not be doing certain things because you're trying to get on a certain path, accumulate certain things, so you'll be very comfortable later on. And usually, depending if you got a family, those hard, short, and long-term decisions affect other people,
especially if you got a family.
Exactly, and then it's a matter of if they're gonna be on board with it, because again, your vision is what your vision. No matter how you sell it, that's your vision.
A lot of times people can't see what you see.
Nah.
So they're like, man, this is a bunch of crap. So a lot of times they can't see what you see. So in order for them to see what you see, you have to do it.
Exactly.
For them to understand it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even when part of doing it, you don't know the reception.
Right.
Now people, true. You see divorces, families crumble just because he trying to save all his money. He don't want to spend it, but the man might be trying to do something, or she might be trying to get a certain way or doing certain things, and he can't see it, and it can be met with all kind of friction. So that's one of the things you got to kind of be aware of when you start going down that path of doing that. You're gonna miss out on certain things. Like I said again, those trips, those different events and stuff like that. We're gonna put it off. We're gonna go on a vacation 2 years from now. 2 years from now, shit, we ain't been in. Look, I'm trying to get this stuff taken care of.
Right.
And again, if everybody don't have the same vision, it's difficult. One of the most important things, one of the drawbacks of wealth accumulation that throws out, I think, the vast majority of the people, you might not be the damn direct benefit of that wealth accumulation. Again, you look at our president now, he's a straight beneficiary of what his father laid from it. And that's, and to be honest with you, that's what happens a lot of times. Kind of like going back to with, having those, people have those $500,000 to $1 million life insurance policies they've been paying on, moving over property. They broke their neck. I look at, in terms of my grandfather, right? He bought that house without Bankhead, paid the mortgage for 30 years.
Right.
My grandfather been dead, almost 20 years, right? I've made more money renting that house out totally in the 20 years he's been dead than what he paid in mortgage payments.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's not that uncommon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying in terms of the sacrifices he made to get that. He ain't reaped the benefits of it.
You reaping the benefits.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm just saying your thought process in terms of going down that path of wealth accumulation, you have to know that, I'm doing this for the big picture, the family, and everything, my heirs and stuff like that. And that always stuck with me, in terms of just, doing certain things with that. And in that house in particular, like I've made way more money. Yeah, in terms of what he even just paid for the total of it, because he's no mortgage on it and everything. He just left me a house.
Right.
So just that has, probably almost twofold.
Right.
And everything. So that's just one thing people, I think, lose most folks, like, shit, why am I put all this money up for their asses to do it and everything like that. Now, again, with that said, I ain't finna sit here and get into what's the right way, what's the wrong way of doing it. It's just different visions.
You just have to have the mentality that you have to know yourself that you are going to do this for somebody else.
You're going to do it for somebody else and the people that's going to benefit from it. You're putting them in a position from instilling knowledge in them, they're going to be able to roll forward.
Right.
Because I don't think it make no damn sense to sit here and leave all that and the people that's going to benefit. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I think there's a reason why they left it to me.
Right.
Could others have done the same thing? Possibly. But I don't know.
Right. Right.
Knew it, with that. With your kids, the one that's going to F it up. And this one going to take it to another level.
Right.
And everything. And that's just being honest. And to that point, I think a lot of families don't have those conversations with their children, when they're around, especially older folks, to pull them in a room. Hey, this person gonna get this. Let's talk now and everything. And that's why you have so much chaos when people die. And everything. Now everybody trying to pull this and pull that.
And sue and all that.
Exactly. When they can probably have a couple sit downs. Look, let's cuss. Let's get everything out. What you want. What you want. What you want. Let's get all that stuff taken care of. Now listen, we good. You like it, and everything, and make that agreement there. Too many people don't do that, and there's too many close families are torn up when a patriarch or matriarch dies. And they haven't put a transition place in there. I remember when I read an article with True Cathy, and he was talking about these kids. They had paid a consulting company, prior. I mean, prior, maybe 5 years prior to him dying, to draft a transition plan in terms of who gets this, who gets that, where it's already known how that goes, and I think they took them a couple of years to kind of go through that, looking at it, assessing everybody who had different temperaments, who will be the president, who will be this, who will be that, and the succession plan.
Oh, right.
In terms of how to do that in the family. Man, I thought it was brilliant. Now, do we got the True Cathy, or do we got that Chick-fil-A money? Do we kind of doing all that? Absolutely not.
Not right.
But a conversation is free.
Right.
So I just think that's one thing a lot of families don't do, and it shatters a lot of families because they're not really prepared for that.
I had that issue in my family. My great grandmother died. She owned a brownstone in Chicago. Nobody talked. She didn't talk to nobody about it and say nothing who get what it was. So now it's gone. Then my grandmother on the south side owned the house. And these people own these houses for 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
they paid off.
Yeah,
I mean the brownstone got 9 bedrooms. 4 bathrooms. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? And a basement with a bathroom and 2 bedrooms. So you're looking at 11 bedrooms and. But they didn't have a conversation with us about it. No. Who get this, take care of this, so we lost it all. So that's 2 properties that were paid for. That you probably could get rent on the brownstone by itself. You probably make $4,000 a month on the rent because you $2,000 the first level, $2,000 second level.
And you know what? That's very unfortunate, but it's not uncommon.
It's not uncommon.
It's not uncommon and everything. And that's I really want people to especially older people to just do that because again I don't want to talk about dying and stuff like that, but I think those kind of conversations are needed and everything like that. I had them conversations with my kids now, look,
we all gonna do
it. Shit, I tell my kids now, look, I'm not gonna leave you anything. I feel like you got it. I leave this to you, this, that, and that. We gonna be honest with each other. You might not like it and everything, but that's why I'm always like, look, let's talk,
right,
and state your case with it and everything. Cause I'm not gonna bust my tail to leave to somebody I know gonna bug it up. What's the thing that Gates and Buffett and all them part of?
They give
Promise Keepers.
Yeah, they give it all
90%.
Yeah,
they get 90% away.
No, not 90.
The 99.
99% of their wealth they are giving away to charity.
Yeah, exactly.
But the catch to that is, all the charities that they're giving away to are not non-profit. They are profit charities, for-profit charities. That's why Bill Gates can give away. He gave away most of his wealth, but he still is one of the richest men in the world because his charities make money.
Exactly, I got you.
You get what I'm saying? His charities are allowed to make. Yeah, they are for-profit charities.
I didn't know that.
So to me, and I may be wrong, I may be conspiracy theory here. They're just giving away their wealth in order to avoid taxes in a for-profit charity because they're still tax exempt. They just allowed to make profit. And
to that point, they may be forwarding stuff to their heirs that it may be boards on and everything. Before I go any further, we've had an exciting show to share a lot of information. This is Change Live, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burton. Please go to the show. You see, we put out a lot of information so far, but make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to it. This was probably, I think, a 13th episode. Got a lot of previous shows. We did a lot of good content. I got a lot of 1 and 2 minute videos. We share information just like this all the time. So please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to it and share it also. And going back to what we're talking about, we just went over the cons of those drawbacks of trying to go on that wealth accumulation path. Now we're looking at what's needed.
Right.
What's needed for a person to do that? What are those inner traits that are needed from you? Number one, what we talked about earlier, you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined to stay on a path to, where you're looking at where you at now and where you want to be and following it through on that path. Because, again, going down that path of when you're going up the income is just steady. You get check.
Right.
When you're on a wealth accumulation track, it's like a roller coaster. It's going up and down, up and down, and up and down. And you can easily get tired of those downs and just say, F it.
Right.
Shit, I don't want to do this no damn more. It's for the damn birds.
Trust
Yeah.
me, I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of people do that.
Right.
And everything. So that's the thing about it being disciplined. The second thing of it is being confident that you can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, we all have our moments of, we need self-assurance, or, you may not get that pat on the back, or you can do it. You might not get that. You got to have enough confidence in yourself to, even when you have those moments where you're down and you may kind of just like, I don't know, have a little self-doubt creep in, be able to bounce back out of it like, I feel bad. I fail, but I ain't a failure.
Right.
And that's where confidence goes in, because those people that are actually wealthy, they're going to have those setbacks and drawbacks, and they do feel bad about it, but their reflection on it is a whole lot shorter than the average person. Where some people get devastated, they are hurt, but they're more educated from it than sitting there dwelling on, what happened. Is more of a, what can I do to make sure it don't happen again? Yeah. So those kind of things are needed in terms of the discipline and the confidence. We're going down the wealth accumulation path. Long-term implications with going down that path, you get, number one, create a legacy. A lot of times, people, it feels good for them to know that, hey, my name will live way longer. You got some folks that remember their grandma and granddaddy, and everything. They think about it. But you got some folks that just, you ever seen, I've seen it in movies, I ain't never seen it in person. You ever go, those some people that, especially like, you see great granddaddy, this, that, and all them generations on the wall. And it's just like, wow, okay, cool. One thing from a personal perspective, my family's from Pike County, and a lot of times I think when you go down in that Griffin and Pike area, you hear burdens, or you can just say, yeah, I'm a burden. You can say it with your chest up.
Right.
Yeah, my great-grandfather, Clarence Burden, he had 12 kids. But I mean, even just, all the grandchildren that he had and all the great-grandchildren, we're a very, very, very tight family.
Right.
Very tight family. And, I've never had a situation that just, hey, cuz, and everything. And it's always been, you got everybody from all different angles and this, that, and that, and everybody's proud they're a burden.
Okay.
And you're proud you're a burden. It means something.
Okay.
And it's not no different in terms of if you doing this or you here, everybody proud of you.
Okay.
I always took a lot of pride in it, and everything.
Means something. That does mean something.
And just knowing that you can create future generations that are proud of not only who they are still proud of who you were.
Right.
And everything like that. Just having that legacy perspective. Also, knowing that, the generation will continue and everything, just to say that and everything, my uncles always put them in, he always stick in my head, man, have them kids, but keep your name strong.
Right.
Keep your name strong and everything. Just keep it going and everything like that. Some people look at babies like, oh, Lord. Well, I always look at the difference, what I'm saying? I just look at it as, hey, keep the name strong going on with that like that. So it's a different perspective with doing that. With this show in particular, like I said from the onset, I didn't set out to put people in on a mindset in terms of creating, is it good to get a job or creating wealth, because I looked at a lot of shows, I was looking at Breakfast Club. I know DJ Envy pushed a lot of people getting the buildings, and I was looking at Killer Mike's show. They was talking about people doing that. Excuse me, that shit cool, but everybody ain't meant for that.
Everybody's not meant for that certain thing.
And the problem that I have with that is too many people will take money because I want to invest. I want to start my own business. I want to, buy properties. I want to do this, that, and that. but they don't have the temperament to deal with that shit. See, the easiest thing I can tell you is to do that. And even like now with a lot of even the celebrities that get into it, they have that discretionary income now to buy into it. But then, then they get, you don't know what they're not telling you, and they won't tell you if they did it, after a bill or not. You don't went and bought this property overvalued. You don't know anything about market rates or comps. You try to do an assessment. You don't know anything about market rent. You got this complex or got this this apartment building. Even with you have max rent from your tenants, you still won't be able to cover costs of just maintain it. That kind of analysis, you have to be taught how to do it.
You got to do. I mean, people don't know that you got to go in the neighborhood and see the minimum income, the medium income of the households in the neighborhood, and the median rents of what people are getting for the households in the neighborhood. You got to do due diligence.
Absolutely.
Got to do.
And if you ain't done your due diligence and you don't think you got just all this money you want to invest, and if you know you're not the type of person to go and do that homework, or you're not around a team that was going to do that, because when you got money, you'll be at no shortage of people. I can do it for you. I can help you do this.
That's
I can
true.
do that. And at the end of the day, most of the time they're doing shit, but they getting paid. So once your shit dry up, you just SOL. And a lot of times people don't want to come to that realization that I'm doing, hey Chichi, I'm doing these things, and I feel good because I just went and bought this property building.
Yeah.
I just bought this car wash. The whole point of it is that have you done that break-even analysis, cost-benefit analysis? Do you know if this is even going to be profitable and everything?
Car washes in this neighborhood.
Exactly. none of those proactive assessments have been done, and now you just out of this money, and it happens all the time. So I think, me personally, and I think I totally believe in my heart, there needs to be a bigger push on education for people to do. And once you know how to do it, you can always do it. You can win, you can get it, lose it, you still know how to do it. But it's just such a push on these people investing and doing certain things, and it's not in them to do it. If you're not a patient person, if you're not going to be analytical on certain things, and everything doesn't need that, because I'm probably one of the people that's a little too over analytical, and I missed out on opportunities being that way. But even just to be able to look at certain things, you'll lose out on more.
Right.
So sometimes it's best like, hey, look, let me work this job, get my pension and everything, retire. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But you're so stuck on want to be here and have no idea the reason why people are there, because they went on such a damn painful journey to get there. You ain't built for that.
Right.
Can you do it? Absolutely. Right. But are you built to do that? Ah. Yeah. That's the thing. I just think a lot of people, that's why I wanted people to look at that self-assessment, know what kind of person you are. If you just like, look, I just want to go to work, I don't want all the other stuff I need to buy. If you want them people to just don't want to deal with it, that probably ain't the best path for you to do.
That ain't what you need.
And everything. And it's easy, I think, a lot of time for people to tell folks, you need to do this, you need to do that. It ain't meant for everybody. I just remember my grandfather, he get off work, he lay on the sofa, grandma give him his plate, he cool, have his bill. Shit, I can't never say the man was ever unhappy. And I never in my whole life really felt, I told you, when my mom told me stuff about she had no money for college, I never felt poor.
Right.
I never felt broke. And we were broke. Because I what stuck with me, I think, when I first started doing taxes and I was looking back over old records, combined income between 3 adults probably about $30,000.
Right.
So they kind of give you an idea, like, shit, how the and I never felt, I was chubby.
You never wanted.
Yeah, I was chubby, was never hungry.
Right.
Everything, this, that, and that, never wanted. So it just made it happen. And I'm from a very, very loving and tight family. God had a great childhood.
Right.
So I can't, that's the thing about it. And were they wrong? Did I miss out on anything? No. So I just think sometimes people need to make that kind of assessment, because we have too many people push a certain path of what they think we need to be. We need to do that in terms of accumulating wealthy and everything like that. We have to probably not necessarily get away from that, but we need to start educating ourselves. But to this one point, I will be honest. We are at no shortage of high income generating black people.
Yeah, it's high income earners out here.
We out here making money. Especially these sisters. They out here making this money. But
I think a lot of times people push the thing on it because it is a lot of high income earners in the black community, and I think we get so caught up in the keeping up with everybody else that we push that thing on us to invest the money, which is good because we do. If we are high income earners in the black community, we want to stay high income earners. We want to stay where all of our family and generational, well, like we just talked about, can grow. But I think if we do have money, we got to find out for ourselves, like you said, educate ourselves on what's best for us to regenerate, to keep the money flowing, to keep the wealth going. Buying property might not be what it is. We might be better at selling light bulbs.
you can double up the money you put in your 401k.
Yeah,
that's the thing about it. You don't. Again, just even if you're making, say $150,000, if you're not a disciplined person, you're not, or certain traits aren't being patient. Certain things you just won't be able to do.
Right.
It could, because income, wealth is accumulated, and it takes time. So if you know that you're not going to be patient with it and be able to go through the ebbs and flows of it, you just don't need to go down that path.
Just don't worry about it.
And I ain't being negative about it. I don't think that side of it is looked at. It's easy to look at everything from a black and white perspective. If you do this, you have that. Buy you some property, buy you some land, buy this business. But if you ain't no damn business person, no hell you don't. Oh, no hell you don't.
You be in the same boat, maybe worse than you were before you started the business.
You might well bring it to Deonte Burden, located right here, Hip National Bank. Shit, I'll take that money from you, because that's about as good what you're doing. Or go down to Magic City and just throw it up in the air.
Right, just throw it.
That damn business is going to last 6 months to a year, depending on how much money, and it happens all the time and everything. So people, if you can, period, no matter where you're at in life, in terms of making a little bit of money, a lot of money, continue to educate yourself. And I say educate yourself, I'm not talking about going to college, getting a degree, or getting a trade. Even though I do feel like every person should find some kind of way to always, put themselves in a situation where they can bring more skills to the table, put another tool in your toolkit, just, self-development. But please make sure you're educating yourself with information out there of different products in terms of looking at your personality and what's the best map for you to go. I don't want people to feel bottled in terms of this the best way to go in terms of, getting land or getting businesses and stuff like that. There is a good path. But if you don't have the temperament to do that,
what's the point?
Exactly. So if you got a job that has a retirement plan, you can put more money and contribute to it. Learn the different products that they have in the 401k plan. You might want to shift that money into another fund. You might double your money by the time of retirement. Right. If you want to go to your church or your different groups and y'all start an investment club and stuff like that, you want to do that, cool. But don't be in a rush. Because Atlanta's something else, in terms of, hey, I want to have this kind of money and do all that kind of stuff. If it ain't in you to build it, don't try to force it.
Right.
Probably one of the best advice when I first got on, my old head told me, say, look, young blood, you can have that money, have them costs, just don't force it. And I've, for the most part, stuck with that blueprint, and it worked out pretty well for me and everything. So I've been pretty excited with that. Kind of rehash everything. Our show today, we was talking about the difference between income and wealth. Hopefully gave you guys a whole lot of information in terms of the different things that are needed, my definition, and how I feel about it in terms of it's more of an internal assessment in regards to how you want to do everything as opposed to doing what others tell you should do.
Right.
Again, I am Deonte Burden. I'm the owner of Majestic Business Services. Tax season is here. We do full-scale business service firm. We do tax prep, payroll, bookkeeping, business creation. If you got any questions or starting a business, please give us a call. Visit us on the web at www.majesticbiz.com or give me a call at 678-479-4007. And lastly, with our show, Changes Live, hosted by me, Deonte Burden, please go to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends about, hey, man, little short ball guy. Be talking some good stuff, and everything like that. Like some people, he don't know what the hell he talking about or whatever. Hey, I love the conversation. Comment on it. Send me an email, send some kind of feedback. We love all of it. But please share the show. Let people know what we're talking about and everything. I love you guys. I appreciate all support. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.